What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Gotham, Season 3, Episode 9, The Executioner. So this is kind of the episode that I've been looking forward to for a while. I mean, as soon as Barnes got infected with Alice's blood, you knew this episode was coming. Barnes versus Gordon. I was looking forward to it, and they delivered very well. So, overall, you've got the three main storylines. You've got Jim and Barnes going on. You've got Bruce, Selina, and Ivy going on. And then, of course, you've got Nigma and Cobblepot. So, let's talk about Nigma and Cobblepot first, because I feel like this is the weakest storyline for me. And not just because, not just because the whole liberal media thing is going on. And I don't know what it is about these DC shows. Supergirl and Gotham both just feel like they need to push that liberal agenda. But anyway, it wasn't a bad storyline at all. In fact, when they introduced Isabella, it actually made it a bit more interesting, because the possibility of, ooh, who is she actually? Is this really a different person? Is it just a coincidence she looks just like Kristen? In a show like this, probably not. And so it felt like this might actually be going somewhere. And of course, the fact that Cobblepot is getting jealous of her, it's kind of lending itself to the fact that Cobblepot is turning back into a actual villain again and killing people, because, in my opinion, that's not strong enough for me. I want Cobblepot to turn back into a villain because his mother died. That's a good reason. That was a good reason for him to turn back into a villain. It made sense. It worked. This is just, oh, I have a crush on this guy, but he likes this girl. I'm gonna go kill that girl. I'm totally evil now. Really? That's why we're turning Penguin back into the Penguin, because the guy he has a crush on is liking another girl and dating her. Not doing justice to the character at all. But the saving grace was the fact that this woman looked just like Kristen. The possibility of, oh, is she from Indian Hill? Is this actually Kristen brought back to life? All the possibilities with this. I'm just like, I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do with it. But then she dies last episode. And that was it. So if the whole reason to bring her back was so that Edward would have somebody to fall in love with, so that Penguin would be jealous of that woman and then kill her, and now he's turning evil again. If that's really the only reason they brought her in, a coincidental Kristen lookalike, that's really weak. That is just, you're forcing a storyline, you're trying to force this whole thing, like, ooh, Penguin has to turn evil somehow. This is the best we can come up with. No, it's not. There are so many better storylines you could have done. This is a weak storyline that feels forced, that feels like you're just trying to find some reason to turn him back evil again. And for some reason, because media is really liberal nowadays, you want to be progressive, so let's have it be homosexual stuff. There's no reason for it. You could do so many more interesting things. You could do so many things that fit within a superhero show. This is Batman. Have it be something really interesting. Have it be where, I don't know, have this girl actually be from Indian Hill. That would make more sense. That would actually be interesting. And even though the whole Penguin storyline with him and Nigma doesn't get my attention, makes me think this is a weak story, if that was thrown in, well, now I've got something to be interested about. Now I've got something that's, what is going on? Maybe it's not just because, oh, Penguin had a crush on Nigma. It's also because Kristen comes back to life, and she's like, she still wants Nick. Like, Isabella, I thought she was an interesting character because of how she antagonized Penguin. And I thought that actually could have lent itself more to turning him back into a despicable person, but they didn't utilize it enough. They had that one scene where she's like, no, Edward's mine, and that's it. If there had been more of that, yeah, that would have been better, but you just kill her off after that. So short. Not enough, so much potential there. Not enough of it used. So, done talking about that. It's a weak storyline, not terrible, but could have been so much better. The Bruce, Selina, and Ivy stuff is starting to get pretty interesting. First of all, we have Ivy in this one. We see her doing her thing again. where she's pretty much turning on men and then using them, and then all of a sudden she's also got this pheromone stuff that can knock people out or make them do stuff for her. When did this happen? Like, this is the only thing that bothers me about the storyline, is that I don't mind the fact that she's got the pheromone stuff that can cause people to fall under her spell, fall under her control. But show us that. The fact that she just all of a sudden has it at the beginning of this episode is like, when did this happen? We didn't see this at all. She talks about her love of plants and how she's using these plants to create this, but when did she figure this out? Because when we first saw her as an older woman, she gets out of the lake, she goes to this one guy's house, and then he's like not treating his plants well, so she kills him. And then the next time we see her, she's at Barbara's, whatever it's called, bar, I guess? Like club, I guess, is a better term for it. But she's at Barbara's club with this older man, like messing with Selena. And it's just like, when did you have time to use plants to create pheromones that control men? Because I don't... Anyway. So she steals this necklace from him, but he's not quite knocked out. So then he tries to get it back from her. She escapes. She finds Selena, hoping for help. Tells Selena, I'm Ivy. And Selena's like, oh yeah, this guy can make people old, so it makes sense. She brings Bruce in on it because she needs help. This is where most of the comedy comes in, because Bruce and Selena, they have good chemistry. I love watching them sort of bicker like a little couple, like a younger high school couple. It's funny. And then on top of that, you got Bruce that he's still kind of innocent. He is learning the streets a bit more. Hanging around Selena is changing him a bit. But Selena and Ivy are talking, and she's just talking about how she can control men. And Bruce is just like, well, you are really beautiful. And of course Selena just looks at him like, what the hell did you say? It was really funny, and a lot of their interactions are pretty funny. But Selena's place gets attacked by these two guys with crossbows. I'm really confused about what happened, because I thought they were working for the guy, but then they find the guy and he's dead. But then at the end, there was a guy that looked similar. I don't know, maybe I was thinking of somebody else, because I didn't see the guy at the beginning very long. So maybe this guy just... I don't know, he has a beard, he has a goatee, and the guy at the beginning had a goatee, so... I don't know, I think they're the same person. So did he fake his death, or did he have a twin brother that he killed? And I don't know. Anyway, but whatever this necklace is, apparently there's something behind it. Apparently there's something very interesting about it. These people really want it. They're willing to kill to get it. So that's kind of interesting. I like that they're adding a bit of intensity into that storyline. And then, of course, the main one that I was so excited for, and they did a good job for it. Because Jim, after hearing about Barnes killing the guy, the guy names Barnes as his killer, he, of course, goes to Harvey and says, look, this guy said Barnes killed him. Harvey is skeptical. Jim is kind of skeptical too, but wants to investigate. So he starts investigating more. Barnes kind of catches on. First he hears witness reports that apparently this guy talked to Jim at right before he died. So he has an inkling that maybe Jim knows, and on top of that, he walks into his office and Jim is looking through his files, so he suspects that Jim knows. Brings Jim along with him, and actually, it wasn't just he knew that Jim knew, so he wanted to kill him. It was more he knew Jim knew, so he wanted Jim to help him cleanse the city. And of course, Jim is like, no. So then Barnes is trying to kill him. Jim managed to call Harvey and tell him, look, he's infected with Alice's blood, blah, 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 blah. And Harvey and the police show up right before Barnes can kill Jim. They have a fight. Jim ultimately comes out on top, shoots him in the shoulder to pacify him, and then Barnes gets put into Arkham. Now, my only caveat in this, because I love how they did it, the action was fun, the intensity of the scene was there. You could feel it. Just kind of the chemistry again between these two. You really feel like it's a mentor-student type relationship between them. You feel like Jim really looks up to Barnes, and Barnes treats him like a son, but of course Barnes is not thinking clearly, so instead of just seeing him as a son, he sees him as more of a disciple for his cleanse the city mindset. And so it just pains Jim to see him going through this, and the dialogue they have is really good. How it all gets resolved is really well done. However, if they just throw him in Arkham and that's it, and we don't hear about him until later on this season, that would be the only thing they could do to mess his storyline up. Because you really think about what they've got. They've got Barnes in Arkham, but he's still raving mad. I mean, we see him at the end of this. He's like, guilty, guilty, guilty. So we see he's still completely insane. And I'm pretty sure that Alice's blood eventually... There's probably some sort of thing at the end where it may lead to death. Like after the insanity, after all of this, I'll be interested to see what's going to happen now with him. I don't want it to just be, oh, he's in Arkham, and then we're not going to see him again until later on down the season. I want this to be something they continue to talk about. I want this to be something that we got to find out how to help him. We got to take the blood. Lee, look into the blood. See if you can find an antidote for it. See if there's anything you can do to help him out. See if there's anything we can do to sort of calm the mind part of it at least. So I want them to focus on that. I don't want them to completely push it to the side for other stuff. There still can be good stuff, but this is a storyline I want to see. This is a storyline I don't want to see just sort of shoved away, because it's interesting. And Jim is going to be in pain emotionally because his mentor is now crazy. And he's going to want to help him. So I hope they decide to keep focusing on it. I hope there's some interesting story involving Alice's blood, and there's a way to possibly find out more about it and, I don't know, get a doctor to look at it somehow. I want this to be talked about more. So we'll see where it's going to go. The last thing to touch on, because it was mentioned a little bit, but they didn't really focus on it a whole lot, the Lee and Jim stuff. There's still a whole lot of chemistry there. There's still emotions there. You can see that the scene at the end where he's talking to her because she faked the blood scan of Barnes's blood to convince all the cops, look, he's crazy. You could see that Jim is appreciative. He wants to say something, but he can't say anything. And Lee wants to say something, but she can't say anything because she's engaged, and to the son of Falcone, for that matter. I'm not a big fan of relationship stuff in shows, but what they're doing here, the chemistry, the just friction between these two, it works in context of the show. And on top of that, because Gotham is kind of... They've sort of made this statement over the past couple seasons that this show is about Jim Gordon. The side stuff with Penguin Enigma, it's off to the side. The side stuff with Bruce, Selena, and Ivy, it's off to the side. The main focus of this episode is it's Jim. The entire episode. They're cutting away for a second and then cut right back to the action going on. Jim running away from Barnes. And they've done a good job of it. They've done a good job of making Jim the center focus. So I actually want to see more with Jim and Lee. I want to see what's going to happen. Are they going to get together again? Are they going to be able to find love despite the fact that she's engaged to somebody else? Is she going to be able to overlook all of his flaws, to love him again? It sounds weird for me to say because, like I said, relationship stuff in shows, normally not my thing, but they're handling it very well so far this season. They're not making it the center focus. It's just been something that Jim's had to struggle with, throughout this entire season. It started off, the very first scene in the season was him going to see Lee and seeing that she's already with another man. That affects him. And you can see it clearly. So I'm curious to see where they're going. I'm curious to see what's going to happen next with all of these storylines, aside from probably Penguin Enigma. I want them to go ahead and go back to being evil. I don't even care for the reason now. The storyline needs to end. It's so weak compared to the rest of the show, and it doesn't fit in with the Gotham feel. So, long story short, good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What you like and dislike about this episode. Let me know. We can talk about, discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Gotham reviews. I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.